this is Dante Carmazzi, best-selling author and currently ranked as one of the world's top 10 thought leaders in organizational culture and leadership. And welcome to the very special session of the Experts MBA. So this time we have Dante, Alessandro, and a very special guest, Phyl Campbell, who's going to help us on writing books. Because remember, we talked about if you are a consultant and an expert of any kind, you need to have a book. And my challenge in the last video was, can you write a book before my kids can? All right? And today, Phyl Campbell, our very special guest, is going to help us and the kids, okay, to see how they can write a book. Now, just a little bit of background on Phyl, okay? She has written a number of books herself, but more importantly, she has helped, how many? Over 20?
Over 20.
Over 20 children write and publish books, okay, around the world. And her youngest author is 6 years old, all right? So that's even younger than Alessandro. So she is going to be giving us some advice, and she's going to be asking the kids some questions, and we're also going to be asking the kids a little bit about their progress on their book. So see how it matches with the progress that you guys have been making. Let Phyl give us some, or talk to us a little bit and see what's going on, what she has to say and what advice and questions she has.
Well, I want to start with Alessandro. When I heard about this project, you were talking about a crocodile. Is that what you were still writing about?
Yes. That's his mock-up. This is his mock-up.
Tell me what you've got going.
I got going that this crocodile is slapping this other crocodile, and he said, hey.
So this was Alessandro's first mock-up before he started writing on the computer, and both of them have been using Google Docs in order to write their books.
So we're not doing and writing.
You can see the other pages.
Alessandro's. So you can also show the camera over there, okay, Alessandro?
Explain.
Over there.
Explain,
okay?
Alice.
The crocodile went in this forest where there's people, but they're nice people, and they let him go into their pool, which is right here.
Cool. So what is going to happen next?
Then he found this place, which is a castle, and he saw a diamond on it.
I didn't hear the last part.
He saw a diamond on it.
Oh. Well, then what's going to happen?
And he said he ate 1,000 people. Bad people.
Did you say the crocodile is going to eat 1,000 people?
No, he already ate.
He already ate 1,000 bad people.
Yeah.
Okay, now,
Okay, I'm glad they were bad people. They needed to be eaten.
The police officer said, eat this, people. They're being so naughty. That was just I'm going to do it in that last page here.
Okay, so how many pages do you have so far written in the book, the actual writing part, besides the mock-up?
1, 2, 3. Oh, in the computer? Oh. So that will be about 6 pages.
6 pages, okay?
When you wrote those pages on the computer, did you remember to leave space for your pictures?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Are you making your pictures drawing with your crayons, colors, markers, or are you making your pictures with a computer program?
For my pencil.
Okay, with pencil? Okay.
Okay. So if you're going to do that, remember to use lots of colors, and then maybe your dad can help you scan those into your computer program. Does that sound like something that you think is a good idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. Okay.
Alessandro, do you have any questions for me?
No. What can I?
Okay.
you for a second. I
Thank
need
you
a
for
drink.
sharing that with me. Keep working and doing a great job.
I was writing this book, this documentary book called Prehistoric Life, and it talks about everything of the history. And I was deciding to do 50 pages, but once I hit the first animals, I thought maybe doing some human history.
Okay, so you got some animal stuff going on.
A lot of
some people
animals.
stuff going on.
Yeah. So, and it's called on my vertebrates, the last part of the first animals.
Okay, well, why don't you tell her a little bit about how it starts?
So it starts out with the first cell. Here's why I did my chapters. There are 7 chapters in the history,
Oh, wow. Good stuff.
and I'm starting the age of fish. And so the first cell we're gonna enter the first cell and its evolution.
How do you make sure that people who are reading it and who are children can understand what that word is and how to say it?
First, I'm doing this 7 up to 15. I might make the age a little bit shorter, but because there's some complex words but not a lot of complex words. I had to make this short. That way the 7-year-olds can read it easily, but also make this has a little bit of detail, a lot of detail for 15-year-olds. So that's a little bit
But
of.
when you're talking about that word that starts with a P, maybe you could give the reader a way to sound the word out. So you mention the sentence that includes that word, and then you break it down into small parts, and you show the people how to pronounce it.
Is that a good idea?
Some 7-year-olds know that word, and some 15-year-olds don't know that word.
Really?
Truly.
How do you know? Prove it.
Because I have a 15-year-old playing Xbox in the back room.
So what we're doing here essentially is we're coaching the kids. We're finding out. We're discovering what are the primary issues, and we're coaching them to essentially create a work that is going to be effectively sellable. Okay, because at the end of the day, you still have to remember your audience.
So when you're publishing your book on Amazon, if you have one color picture, the whole thing has to be printed in color. And that can make it really expensive to print.
I know. And my dad was talking about it. I'm thinking, and I should do Photoshop because you can just copy the same thing and just put black and white on it. So that way you can make 2 versions of the book, black and white and also color. So in case they want to spend a little more.
The Kindle version, which is the electronic version, okay, must be in black and white. So
What
even
Kindle?
if you have colored pictures, the electronic version, which is called Kindle on Amazon, okay, must be in black and white. Okay, so do you have anything else that you want to add, Phil?
Dante, where does your book end? How far up the evolutionary chain do you intend to go?
I thought about 50, but I think I had to go up to 60.
I'm not concerned about your page count.
Yeah.
I'm concerned what topics are you covering. I think you said you ended at vertebrates, but that includes a lot of different things. Your page count does not have to be exact.
I
What
know.
you're looking for in your story, whether you're writing a story about crocodiles, like Alessandro is, or whether you're writing your book, which is more fact-based,
Oh,
you
excuse me,
want
my
a
tummy
beginning, a
was.
middle, and an end that are very clear and easy to understand. I
Yeah.
know that your dad has talked to you about that, and your dad is giving very good advice.
Thanks.
So what is a way that when you're ending with vertebrates, you are signaling the reader the end is coming soon. This is the last thing I want you to know about this scientific thing thing that I'm telling you about.
So maybe I end it with the at the year 2000.
But one of the things that you might want to tell her is that you also have events in here, like the Cambrian explosion and also the Cambrian extinction, for example.
Yes, like, so I did periods. I'm doing like periods.
Because those are fun facts, right?
It's all right. Well, when you figure it out, then you can put it in your book. Remember that once you pick your beginning, middle, and end, and everything connects in your first draft, what comes next?
Well, yeah, of course you need imagination.
Imagination happens when you're writing it the first time when you're making your first draft. After you have your beginning, middle, and end in your first draft, then you have to go back and read it and look for mistakes.
Like this one that you were, because some of the sentence structure here, for example, it's not quite right. That's why you were having a little bit of a problem.
Like,
after it's all done, after it's done, that means you've already done the imagination, you've already written the book. So what she's suggesting is that after you finish, you have to read it again.
Of course I am going to do that.
And then fix it.
Of course I am going to do that.
Okay.
I'm not a Dumbo.
We know that, Dante.
So I'm not going to...
Smart. Except when you say things that your dad might not want you to say on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it back to the books. And after you finish telling your story, and once you've edited it, in the back of the book, you're going to give a section about the author. So Alessandro's about the author is going to be about who, Alessandro?
Yeah.
So what are you gonna put in the section about the author? What are you gonna write about yourself?
That I eat so much sugar.
Sugar.com. That's a good name.
Sugar.com.
Well,
Sugar.
Sugar.com may be taken as a website, but announcing to the world that you are a young person who likes sugar, I think that young people can relate to that. Do you like crocodiles especially?
Yeah. They're my
Yes.
favorites. Anime.
Is green, the color of crocodiles, also your favorite color? Or do you have a different favorite color?
Green's my favorite color.
Good. So you might want to include that, you might not. What's your favorite thing to do when you're not writing books?
Playing in my tablet.
But he got a punishment recently for 2
How
months.
often do you play with your tablet, Alessandro? Even normal for the past year. How often?
Very often.
Really?
Yeah, but recently...
How often is very often? Because usually you are only allowed to play with it 1 or 3 times a week. Because generally the kids are not allowed to play tablet very often. And it's usually an extra privilege to play tablet. So what she's asking, besides playing tablet, what else do you do?
Playing in my sandpit.
Playing in the sand pit. He likes playing in his sand pit.
Oh, I had a sand pit when I was younger. I liked to play in it too. Do you imagine that you are a superhero? I see that you have a superhero on your shirt.
Yeah.
Using your imagination is great, and it will help you think of lots of good things to write. Even
Yeah.
after your crocodile book is done.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks so much for talking to me. It sounds like you're making great progress on your books.
And
I told your dad that if you two want to share your links with me on Google Docs, we can do that. And I can give you very specific advice that we don't share with the audience yet. So we
Right.
can make them be interested and buy your book.
so now, Phil, let's say for example, if our audience wants to know a little bit more about you and they want to contact you, where can they go?
I have a website and a Facebook page. PhylCampbell.com is my website.
Okay, phylcampbell.com. That's Phyl, Campbell like is in the soup, .com.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. And then on Facebook, I have the Creative Writing and Publishing Workshop.
Creative Writing and Publishing Workshop on Facebook. So these are ways that people can get a hold of you on Facebook and also through your website. Okay, and you specialize in helping children to write books, but you wouldn't mind helping some adults too, right?
That's right, the young and the young at heart.
Young and young at heart. Excellent. Okay, so if you want to write a book and you need some help and you need a little bit of personal coaching, Phyl can do that for you, and she can make it so simple that even a 6-year-old can write a book and publish. Okay, so even if you're scared, Phyl is the person to go to, because if you can get somebody like, you know, a young adult to write a book, she'll be able to help you too.
Thank you so much.
All right, Phyl, thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening, because you're in America.
That's right.
And we're still in our morning over here. All right, okay. All right, Phyl, thank you.
Good morning, good night.
Okay, bye-bye. So we've just had a session with Phyl Campbell, who has given us lots of advice, and here's a few little cuts from that coaching session that she had with the kids. So let's look at the progress that Dante and Alessandro have already made. So Dante has basically done 13 pages within 1 week of his fun facts of life to make you look smart. So the current working title that he has is Prehistoric Life, but one of the things he discussed with Phyl was that he wants to go all the way up to human beings, which are not prehistoric since we're still here. Okay, and so he's going to change it to life, or the history of life, 50 fun facts to make you sound smart. Okay, and Alessandro, who has done a mock-up, so he did a mock-up before he started writing his book to kind of get his thoughts straight. So these are some ideas that you can apply for your book. So first of all, Dante, what were some of the things that you did to research the fun facts?
Well, I used a lot of my knowledge, and I researched a little bit about it.
Like, how did you do some research?
On the cells.
Okay, but how did you? What was the process for doing the research?
Well, you go to my old friend YouTube.
Okay, so you did a lot of your research on YouTube. Why do you like YouTube as a place to do research?
Because at first, you can listen, and you don't have to deal with the trouble of reading a lot of the stuff unless your sound is off, and it has words coming out like.
All right, but reading is still good, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And that's how I learned some of my words, actually.
So you also learned some of the new words. So, for example, so what were some of the words that you were having that you were talking about earlier? That had some difficulty that Phyl had suggested that maybe you sound them out.
Multicellular organisms.
Okay, and what were some of the specific words? Protists.
Protists. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a type of eukaryote.
Okay, and what's a eukaryote?
A eukaryote is we're a eukaryote. A protist is a type of eukaryote.
Okay.
It's a single-celled, like amoebas.
Okay, so you've kind of gone through that, and you did some research with that. And Alessandro, you did your mock-up because your story is a fiction story. It's about a crocodile, and so you wanted to kind of draw the pictures out and kind of create the story through drawing, okay, in order to make it clear before you started to put your story on paper and actually write the story. Is that right?
Yeah.
And why did you do that? Was it easier? Was it more fun? What was the motivation behind that? Easier, because that way you have a first draft, and then when you put it onto the computer, it made it a lot easier for you to fill it in. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so far, how do you like the progress? Do you feel good about writing this much so far for your book?
Yeah.
How about you, Dante?
Yeah.
Okay, why do you feel good? What is the motivating factor that's making you keep writing?
Because it's fun.
Because it's fun. Okay, so it's fun to create things?
Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Dante? What's your motivating factor?
Well, my motivating factor did a non-fiction story was that who like already did a lot of fiction stories, so I thought I can actually want to teach some people.
Okay, all right. So your motivation is the ability to teach people, okay, with all these different fun facts. And, okay, as we also discussed with Phyl, one of the key factors is making sure that we are talking to the audience, that we understand the audience well enough to be able to connect with them with your book. And one of the other things we did with Phyl is we also discussed your ending point. How are you going to end? Do you know how it's going to end? Are you going, is it just going to be the last fact end and that's it? Or are you going to kind of explain a little bit about, what happened and, and maybe some ideas about the future or something like that, right? So in the nonfiction, you can also elaborate and kind of come up with your own thinking about what humans could evolve into. And you can also talk about, with your story, what happens at the end, what happens to the crocodile, what happens to the characters in the future, or is it they just live happily ever after? Is there going to be a sequel? And of course,
a villain?
Okay, there's also a situation where the audience needs to know who you are, so Phyl was mentioning about the author is a very important thing. So you have to have your picture there, and you have to have a little bit of content about who you are and why you wrote the book and what qualifies you to write this book. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the things that we are trying to achieve here is to make consistent progress. Okay, constantly make progress. So every day do something, even if it's a little bit. If you can make just a little bit of progress, then eventually you start to see, wow, okay, I've already done 13 pages in 1 week, for example, and you feel good about that, right? And Dante was saying earlier when he was talking to Phyl how that really supports his ability to kind of stay ahead of the competition, which are his peers in the new coming 5th grade that he's going into.
And also some random kids that I heard.
Okay, random kids, older kids.
Yeah, some older kids because
Okay.
I'm a little bit nervous.
So he wants to be the best science guy in the school, even with the older grades. All right, so if okay, you want to gain that credibility and you are an expert, you have to have a book. So little by little, remember, okay, our kids, okay, your kids and yourself can write a book. We've already made progress. How much progress have you got? This is Arthur Carmazzi and
Dante
Dante Carmazzi
Alessandro Carmazzi
wishing you